Conversations across time. 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 Conversations across time.
Hi, I'm Mark Hoffman, proud member of the Conversations Across Time team and a retired history teacher. Tonight's show, I protect Ulysses S. Grant, President of the United States from 1869 to 1877 during the critical period of Reconstruction. I also was the 8th President of the National Rifle Association. As you will see, that becomes important. Also on the panel this evening are the show's hosts, Attorney Vivian Crawford and Attorney Irv Madnick, who was involved in many cases that involve gun violence. During the show this evening, the panel will discuss the bastardization of the Second Amendment and how the original charter of the National Rifle Association has also been bastardized to make sure that every American thinks that it's all right to own guns. We will discuss how money, lobbying, political action committees, propaganda, and racism influence people's perception of gun ownership and the critical problem of mass shootings in the United States of America. Stay tuned for a very provocative and educational show. The situation is critical. In this country, it is easier to buy an AR-15 assault weapon than this stogie I hold in my hand. Enjoy the show.
Last week, we left off with you, President Grant, and you were talking about the NRA and the lobbying and the fact that nothing seems to get done in Congress as a result of the power of the lobbying arm of the NRA. Would you like to just continue with that?
Yes, the gun manufacturers put tons of money into the organization that I was president of many years ago, and the intent of this money is to facilitate people being able to buy ammunition and all kinds of firearms. And my organization has been bastardized where today it lobbies the Senate and the House, and it tells people who are running for election that if they don't back absolute ownership of weapons,
unfettered ownership of weapons,
that we will oppose them. My organization, not we, but my old organization, will oppose them and stop them from being elected. So no politician in the United States, unless they are in a strong urban area, like your mayor of New York, de Blasio,
yes,
or your mayor of Philadelphia, Mr. Kennedy, can advocate strong gun control because they will not be elected. My organization will pour tons of money into that election to defeat that candidate who wants to regulate firearms.
In the past 18 months, we've seen the mass shootings in Orlando. We've seen the Las Vegas, and now Sutherland Springs, Texas.
It boggles my mind as an old timer coming back and looking at what's going on in your country. I guess 15, I don't know how many years ago, I remember that there was a man that tried to blow up a plane with a bomb in his shoe.
Yes.
Now, when you have to enter an airplane, you have to take off your shoes. Yet, since then, there's been 1,500 or more mass shootings in the United States. Nobody does anything. The threat of one shoe bomber, the entire population who wants to board a plane has to take off their shoes.
Yes.
Yet, with all these mass killings, and you had a mass killing of children. I think the
Sandy Hook.
attorney Irv made a statement that we're on the day after that, the mass killing, and nothing is done. So to me, it boggles my mind that you can't get legislation to restrict, especially assault weapons. We're not talking about a hunting rifle, and we're not talking about maybe even a plain old handgun, but not a Glock and not an AR-15.
Well, how about this guy in Vegas? So there killed 56 people at a rock concert. Had what was called, which I'd never heard of before, by the way, a bump stock.
Yeah.
Which he could put on a semi-automatic weapon, which, by the way, fires bullets at about 50 or 60 bullets a second. But that bump stock you can put on there and increases the assault weapon to 100 or 150.
Now you have a car that goes 120, and now you're making the car go 240 for no reason at all.
Right.
Yes.
And yet, it would be the simplest that you would think that the very next day that the people in our Congress would get together and say, look,
We want to do away with bump stocks.
let's out, because by the way, fully automatic weapons, an assault rifle is not considered that, I don't know why, but fully automatic weapons are illegal. And this bump stock actually turns a semi-automatic weapon into a fully automatic weapon, and yet they couldn't get a majority of people in the House and in the Senate nobody even introduced the bill, I don't think. And if they did, they certainly didn't get enough people to vote on it and ban it. So that, to me, is just incredible, and it shows what kind of power the system of lobbying in this country has come to.
Well,
and it's not just the bastardization, by the way, of the Second Amendment, or bastardization of the original intent of the NRA. It's the bastardization of the democracy of the United States of America.
I agree with you.
I want
100%.
to throw something out there. You know, the shoe bomber that you referred to, President Grant. There is something that Irv alluded to last week that's appropriate when we talk about that. What color was the shoe bomber?
Yeah.
What color was the shoe bomber? So everyone that going through an airport has to take off their shoes, has to be screened because of one black man with a bomb reported in his shoe.
It wouldn't even work.
That would not even work.
Well, the other interesting thing is,
But it was, I think you had an underwear bomber at one time too.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe you'll have to take off your
underwear.
underwear. but you can have a gun strapped to your naked waist.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's mindless and boundless, all those suggestions. But anyway, when the issue today, of course, is the issue of guns is also entwined in this immigration issue. It's become the centerpiece of this unbelievable president that we have in the United States, who turns everything, every event, every negative event into a reason to scream about immigration and bringing in terrorists and Muslims or whatever. When the simple fact is almost all of these, as a matter of fact, all of these shootings with assault weapons have been conducted by citizens of the United States citizens and not by immigrants. And yet he uses this to instoke fear in his base, whatever that is, where those people come from, to foster his goal of limiting immigration, which really has absolutely nothing to do with these things.
But
he calls it a mental health problem and an immigration problem, and refuses to discuss the real problem, which is an assault weapon problem, and a weapons problem. That's what it really is. And after they killed all those kids in the school, and they killed all these people at a church, this is not the first church, by the way.
That's right.
There was another church in the South where somebody went in, a citizen of the United States,
Yes.
was racially motivated.
that was a black church.
But it was the same thing. It was an assault weapon. Where is the outcry from people who are supposed to be representing the people of this country to put up legislation that can do away with it? That's something they can do away with, and they refuse to do it because of the money that's involved. And that's what has to be attacked in this
But
country.
again,
That's what has to be
I think
changed.
we said at the last show, and again, my record on civil rights speaks for itself, but you can't understand the gun issue in this country without understanding racism. There was a terrorist attack in New York, and immediately the current man who occupies the office of the presidency demanded the death penalty.
Yes. Yes.
Now, when
It's in the
Of course, that's
ghetto.
prejudicial. Coming from somebody on the legal side, I mean, anything like that is so prejudicial that it makes it almost impossible. Even though, listen, he should be treated harshly with a,
well, he
with a
never
judgment
he,
that
he
judicial
never
But
said
that's so,
he
so
didn't ask for-
prejudicial.
he didn't ask for the death penalty for the Las Vegas shooter, and he didn't ask for the death penalty so far with this current shooter.
The Las Vegas
So-
should have killed himself.
And
Well, I'm just saying.
he didn't use death penalty as a way that would deal with the problems. And the shooter in Sutherland Springs was David Patrick Kelly. And I posited, what if his name was Kareem?
Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be something.
Yeah. I mean, the president's reaction would have been decidedly different if Abdul had been the one that was responsible for what happened in Sutherland.
There's no question that this president is a divisive, racially motivated president who throws out dog whistle after dog whistle to all the members of the alt-right and all those people. Look what happened in Charlottesville. We said there's good people on both sides. I mean, just incredible things from a leader, supposed leader of the people in this country. And by the way, I mean, it's fostered in all of this hatred, and there's so many more racial incidents in
Yes.
this country, not only against blacks but against Jews as well. It's just incredible.
Well,
what's going on.
in
And you can point
Charlottesville,
it right back to this movement, this Bannon-Trump movement, this so-called populist, jingoistic, nationalistic movement.
But,
It
but,
appeals to who? I
but
can't
it
even imagine.
appeals to the very people that belong to my old organization.
Some
and
people,
You
sure,
know,
they all do.
they feel now that there are people that belong to the NRA that are not bigots or racists or
yes.
members of the alt-right.
And by the way, there's some people who were members of the NRA, but once they became so politically involved, pulled away. And Bush
Yes.
was one of them.
Yeah,
By the way.
right.
President Bush was one, and he did that. He backed off of the NRA and gave up his membership. So
But as long, I mean, we as a country cannot stand by and allow mass shootings of innocent people, children. I mean, I look back and I look at Sandy Hook, and you allow elementary school children to be slaughtered, and Congress won't do anything about it. And the road to hell is paved with all those congressmen, man. They're going to be lying on that road because how can you conscience the fact that a gunman had guns, multiple guns, and slaughtered innocent children in a school?
President,
the NRA's answer to that one was Sandy Hook. Well, what we ought to do is we ought to arm all of the teachers in the school and the administrators.
I think the
I mean-
gentleman that was involved in yesterday's mass killing was also a teacher. So how would you like him to have a gun in
Was
front
he
of
a teacher?
you? I think so.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
now I must say that when Sandy Hook happened, I remember thinking, well, this is it. This is the watershed moment
The paradigm has changed. Yeah.
that yes, that the paradigm would change. And being so disheartened to see the reaction of the Congress just didn't want to tackle it. And now, of course, after Las Vegas happened and after Sutherland Springs, what do we hear from the White House? We hear spokespeople coming out saying it's too soon to talk about.
It's not a gun issue. That's what he said.
Not a gun issue.
It's not a gun issue. It's a mental health issue. It is a mental health issue to a certain extent,
I
but it's also a gun issue.
I'm a religious man, and I listen to your politicians, and their only solution is to pray for the families of the people who lost their loved ones in these churches. Pray for them. Well, praying for anybody is not going to stop a bullet.
That's right. Now, it's interesting that you would say that because the alt-right identifies itself as being upholding good Christian values, and the good Christian values that they're upholding is that you should allow people to have guns. And no, we haven't even talked about the fact that in February of this year, President Trump, it's very hard for me to put president in front of his name, but anyway, President Trump quietly signed away a safety precaution that had been put in place to preclude people who had mental health issues from purchasing guns. He signed that away. He overturned that. And
I think that's because he wanted to buy a gun.
because
I think because Obama had put that regulation in
yes,
place, Robert.
yes,
He
yes.
just wants to do away with everything.
No,
Obama did.
if you
He
have
doesn't care. He doesn't even
mental
know
health checks on purchasing firearms, your president couldn't own a firearm.
Right.
I think more and more we are witnessing that. We're, there has been talk about that. There have been letters. There have been mental health professionals who have come up to state that, of course, in spite of, because there was always the rule, the Goldwater rule, that you could not have a discussion about someone's mental health if you had not treated them. But because of the danger that this president poses for this country, it became clear that legally it was imperative that mental health professionals speak up. So that when he says it's a mental health issue, that's coming from a person who has mental health issues.
I look at it this way. You wouldn't let a blind person drive a car.
Exactly.
So why would you let an insane person own a gun?
I don't think there's any issue with any right-minded person who would say that that's not so. I mean, why would you allow somebody who's mentally ill to have a gun? It's an absolute, I think. Or why would you allow anybody who was convicted of a felony to have a gun? Or, for that matter, why would you allow a 13, 14, or 15-year-old person to have a gun? I mean, and you can't do anything about it. There has to be something to be
Now, even dicta in the Heller decision, nothing in our opinion, this is Justice Scalia, nothing in our opinion should be taken to cast doubt on long-standing prohibitions on the possession of firearms by felons and the mentally ill, or laws forbidding the carrying of firearms in sensitive places such as schools and government buildings, or laws imposing conditions on commercial sale of arms.
Even
Scalia.
Even that court, Scalia, who was the most right-wing of all right-wing justices that we've ever had, even he admitted that this was not an absolute right. And there were certain circumstances which he laid out. But that this Pierre or whatever his name, that he will not allow even the first thing to be passed to limit the absolute right to carry all of these weapons, because he feels that once, one limitation will be put on it, and other, like they're doing, by the way, with the abortion law.
Yes.
With the abortion ruling. I mean, they keep chipping away at it and chipping away at it with the intent to do away with it without actually overturning it. And that's the same thing that he fears will happen with the, with the right to carry a weapon. He's probably right about that. But the point is, it goes against what a vast majority of people in this country really want to happen as far as ownership and
That slippery slope, that's what you're talking. That's what he's talking about. It didn't happen when they regulated the Thompson machine guns or Tommy guns. They passed that law. Nobody outlawed handguns at that time. So
Historically, there's no precedent for it.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's, to me, looking down at it, and it's a money maker to sell guns. It's a money maker to sell ammunition. The more guns you sell, the more money the gun manufacturers and ammunition manufacturers make, and that's what it's all about. As
also a money maker for legislators who need that money to run.
Well, yeah, the organization gives them, and they can't win without it. But the manufacturers, that's why that they even assault weapons. I mean, I don't know, how profitable it is, but I'm sure selling assault weapons is a big business for these gun manufacturers. And as long as money, as you said before, it has the kind of influence it has on the legislative branch, and like I said, it always has. Even during my administration, there was a lot of corruption. As long as that is going to, it won't change.
But earlier, I think last week, in fact, you mentioned that 80%, you felt that 80% of the population in this country would think that there should be sensible regulation and there should certainly be prohibitions against semi-automatic weaponry.
Absolutely.
And mentally ill people too.
And mentally, I think 80% of members of the NRA probably feel that way. That's
absolutely.
that's
Absolutely. That's it.
and so Wayne LaPierre gets to ride herd over the NRA membership in such a way that these people are no longer thinking. So when we talk about something needing to happen, I think NRA members need to rise up and say, this is not something that we want. We want bans on
You're asking for
assault
too
weapons.
much. I think you're asking for too much.
Yeah,
Let's use our president as an example.
Yes.
I mean, when he was running for president, okay, look what happened in the last couple of weeks with Harvey Weinstein. I know we're going to appeal
Yes, that's
from
right.
the NRA, but Harvey Weinstein, a lot of women came forward and accused him of sexual assaults and so on and so forth. And a lot of women, I mean, like 50 of them.
Yes.
And oh my God, boom! That he was immediately fired from the company that he started. It was his company, the Weinstein Company. They fired him from him, threw him off the board. Criminal charges are pending all over, and he's totally disgraced. Our president, during the course of this campaign, bragged about how he could sexually assault a woman, and they would never complain. And after he did that, many women came forward against a very powerful man to accuse him of these very things. And by the way, you mentioned before you thought that was when that happened, I thought this was going to be for sure. I said, well, that's the end of this campaign. I said, he's a corner here, he's done. But what happened? Nothing. People didn't care. The people that liked him for whatever reason, they don't care if he colluded with Russia. They don't care if he lies 10 times a day. They don't care about any of that stuff. They love the fact that he was great on The Apprentice. And if he was great on The Apprentice, because he really wasn't good as a businessman, there's no question about that. Everything he touched turned to crap.
Turned to bankruptcy.
Yeah, crap.
Not to justify what your Harvey Weinstein did to women or what. However, I think as I look at it from the 19th century, it seems that there is a double standard of who gets accused of sexual harassment and acting in an inappropriate manner. So, I mean, not to justify what these people did, but I'll just throw out 3 names, and there's some form of common denominator. Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby, and Weiner, the congressman.
Okay.
2 Jews and a black man.
Yes.
Now, one of the old stereotypes against blacks and
You're
Jews.
looking for a common denominator here.
Yes. No, seriously. I mean, I look at it from the 19th, but one of the stereotypes about African American men and Jews is that they want to rape white women and have sex with white women. Now, Donald Trump is your white. He's not Anglo-Saxon, he's German, but he has that stock. And he gets away with a lot more than Weinstein or Cosby or Anthony Weiner. And to me, that feeds right into the stereotype. What the black man is chastised for,
Yeah.
the WASP is kind of, that's just men being men.
Yes. Yes. And
That's why, I mean, but that's one of the reasons for sure. But that's why these things, it looks so easy to us that these things can be overturned because they're so stupid.
Right.
It's so ridiculous. How can't everybody look at it the way we look at it? And they talk about living in a bubble, and really, we're living in a bubble. We're the ones that are in the bubble because we happen to be in the minority now. There's a president of the United States that goes against everything that a president of the United States would do. I mean, he tweets out these ridiculous lies. He attacks members of his own party. He attacks countries and creates situations that are so dangerous in this nuclear world. And it's no big deal. Okay, so he only has a 30% approval rating. What does that mean? It means that he's going to continue to do it, and nobody's willing to stand up. And the people who can stand up against him, who are smart enough
who
and know that he's wrong, don't do it because their own interests are affected by it.
But they are the same people that won't pass.
Responsible for gun later because the NRA's in their pocket and Trump is in their pocket because they won't get reelected if they don't back him. Then the only people who are standing up are the people who are not going to run again for Senate or for the House, and they're the ones who are speaking.
I would have never said anything like this, but I will throw it out to Ms. Crawford and yourself, Ms. Irv. Your president, or when he was running for president, stood up and said, if Hillary Clinton is elected and she'll have the right to appoint a Supreme Court justice, we need to take a Second Amendment remedy. He said that in the campaign, which
Yes,
means
he did. Yes, he did.
rise up with guns.
Right. He did say that.
Right.
He said, "Don't worry." He said, "Don't worry about it. Those Second Amendment guys will take care of the situation."
We'll have a Second
It was a
Amendment.
veiled threat
We'll have a second.
to organize those people to kill Hillary Clinton.
What would have happened if Barack Obama had said the same thing?
Oh, well, there's no question.
What would have happened if Bernie Sanders had said the same thing? So we cannot dismiss this bigotry in his base from what actually happens.
What would have happened if Hillary Clinton said it too? By the way?
Exactly.
Yes, but that's a woman.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
We have
another group in there. That's right. Women, blacks, Jews. So yeah, sure.
so
Well,
this is
that's what his base, his rebellion is all about. They want to go back where minorities knew their place, where women knew their place, and men can walk around
Free
with
civil
guns.
rights act, free voting rights act.
yes.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. Sure,
But
that's what
I
they
want
want
to, we have come to the end of this episode. I want to leave the audience with, we're talking about the Second Amendment, and the NRA and the bastardization of the Second Amendment. We also think it's a bastardization of the NRA. And I want to leave you with just one clip, which we will sign, when we sign out, we will have on the screen. And this is what it says. America's gun homicide rate is more than 25 times the average of other developed countries. We're going to leave you with that thought. So tonight, I've been joined by President Grant and Mr. Irv Madnick, and we will ask for you to join us next week to hear the continuation of this discussion, the NRA and the bastardization of the Second Amendment. Thank you.
Conversations across time. Conversations across time. Conversations across time. Conversations across time.
It's your girl Touch
So Greg in the building, man.
Look, a lot of people been asking, how can we watch the show? Where can we find you? So I'm gonna break it down for you. Okay.
We Talk
We Talk Weekly TV on YouTube.
all day.
We Talk Weekly on the iFame channel on the Roku box.
13 million nationwide. That's
Yeah.
what we hitting. Holla at us,
Just
man.
go on to the box, go into the music section,
Yeah.
iFame TV, we're one of the biggest music channel on Roku. Charles.
Roku, look.
Okay, and then Comcast and Verizon in Philadelphia, of course. I mean, we're the fourth largest TV nation network in the nation.
That's who we are. We
Okay.
Talk Weekly. But you know you gotta follow. Look, we on Instagram now. 60-second videos now. We here, man. We here.
60 seconds, and look, we telling you, you can find us. So make sure you follow us, tell your friends,
And tag a friend right now. Tag a friend.
and we love you.